everything else versus Bitcoin essentially gets spent and dies.
I want to be able to have reactive security, and I think Opvault is today the most straightforward, easiest to use way to do that.
I will not be insulted by a clockmaker.
Overall, these kind of ways to make the network easier to both build on and interact with, I think is a really big deal.
If Bitcoin existed when we started Twitter, we would not have to go down the ad model path. I mean, it's simple as that.
Integrating Lightning into a social network is the killer app.
Hello, and welcome to the Bitcoin.review podcast, where we explore developments and projects with the people who actually make them happen. The show is supported by Pod 2.0, Sat Streaming, and CoinKite. If you're a new listener, I'm NVK. I run CoinKite, where we've been helping people secure their Bitcoins for over a decade. We make the COLDCARD and fun products like the block clock. You can find more information about it on coinkite.com. We have a packed list episode today, and I have some awesome dudes. Paul, Future Paul, welcome to the show for the first time.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
It seems that I have a Mutiny Wallet person here pretty much on every episode now.
Yeah, we're development is really slowed to a halt, so thank you.
Hey, Calle, welcome back.
Hey there, thanks for having me. Looking forward.
Hey, a lot of people really liked the eCash episode. I think it was a success. I think we managed to get people to understand layer 3.
You got me there. No, I also refer that episode to people who want to get into the more advanced stuff of eCash. So it was a really banger.
That's cool. All right, without further ado, let's start the list. COLDCARD Mark IV version 5.1.2. Now all SIG hash types are supported. Previously, SIG hash all was only supported. We added this so that people can do PSBT trading and other many types of new scripting that people want to do that was sort of like being pushed back. Because the way we designed it, COLDCARD, was so that unless we find a transaction kosher, we don't let you sign it. So we don't YOLO it. So just in case there is, malformed transactions or like grifting attacks or whatever. What kind of sucks is that every time there's a new thing that people are trying to do, COLDCARD's going to probably say no, and then we have to update with more permissions. I can't remember if this is a checkbox. There is a warning, but I can't remember if it's a setting. Anyways.
It says you have to go to advanced danger zone.
Yes.
SIG hash checks.
I always play the Tom Cruise movie when I go in my head when I go to the danger zone. Danger zone.
But there's never going to be a danger zone, like it's just sign whatever. The ultimate danger zone?
No. Even in the danger zone, Tom Cruise still wears a helmet.
So can you give an example of what a bad transaction might be that uses other SIG hash operations here?
So, for example, if you don't own one of the input addresses that's for change, you should whine about it so that you don't have a grifting attack. That would be an example, if I remember right. It's been a while since I looked at this part of the stuff.
But all the normal transactions basically use SIG hash all.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah, normally you break SIG hash all when you do inputs and outputs that don't sort of belong to your keys and change outputs, I think. So we now added support for seed XOR for 12 words and 18 words as well. I think I've convinced myself that 12 words are safe, even though it's kind of a range problem. You can't improve that either. It's a strange math problem. Strange to me.
I want to use 12 words for Mutiny Wallet because I really want people to actually write them down. Mm-hmm. And I just know for myself that I'm less likely to write down 24.
Yep. Yeah, no, it is, it became the standard. It's fine. It's 128 bits. I don't know. I always like the idea of filling up those bits instead of scratching them. But it is what it is. Memory citing speed optimizations, Docker Pro build. Oh yeah, so the Docker repro the reproducible builds have been improved. Docker is a shitcoin, but is the shitcoin that is available. Man, Docker is horrible.
The best shitcoin we have.
I know, right? But boy, is horrible. Bug fixes. Users no longer need to manually reboot COLDCARD after importing a private key and tap signer backup. That's kind of a cool one. SIG hash type is no longer set on foreign PSBT inputs. There you go. Fixed issue if validating screen would appear twice. Double validating. All right.
Wait. One more CoinKite. When's the Q1 ship?
Oh, Q1 is the name, not the quarter. I mean, I have hopes that if we don't get bogged down with some plastic sort of bullshit, because sometimes you have to do more than one round of plastic and nowadays takes longer. So there is a chance we get this out between like Q3, Q4, but who knows, right? I mean, it can get pushed a few months just because of plastic. The board, though, is like pretty good. We like the version of the board that we have now. And we're working on the UI. It's going to be textual.
Sweet. I'm stoked.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait to use that. Sparrow version 1.7.5. Add border wallets. Number grid support. So the border wallets, I kind of like it and I kind of don't. I feel like a lot of people are going to lose money with that because they're going to like choose like bad entropy because of the drawing.
Can you give a small version of what it is? I saw it pop up in my feed, but I didn't look into it.
So essentially, like they have the all the words distributed as a grid, right? And then you draw something on top of it, and then those are your words. Like,
so it's supposed to help you remember your seed better by remembering a shape instead of words.
Yes.
But what if you slide over a cell to the left or to the right, or is that kind of?
I can't remember, but I think that there is a way to remember where they are. I looked at this like almost a year ago now, I think. But it's one of those projects that like I love the idea, especially for people fleeing or whatever. But like there is just some instinct on me that says don't do this at the same time.
I'm trying to find like an image of this or something. I want to visualize this, but you just shuffle all the words on a piece of paper and then the person selects their own image that they want to draw onto that shuffled.
Yeah. Borderwallets.com. There's a little video there.
I do want to find a way to get good at memorizing 12 words. I read this book, Moonwalking with Einstein, which is about kind of the ancient art of memory, and people who like memorize like, packs of cards or entire books or things like that. Like it's not ridiculous to have a memory palace, put like 12 or 24 words in it and have really good recall.
Oh yeah, for sure. So see, like, did you see the link there? So I think you just choose the first grid one and then you draw your B or whatever.
Generate a grid, generate seed grid, draw your pattern. So yeah, you do draw your own pattern. So that means you have to be able to recall this.
Yes.
This grid.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be extremely precise with what you draw. So if you can remember exactly pixel by pixel what you're going to draw, you could just as well remember the words maybe. Or
it's options. I like that. I don't know. Like maybe I'm just being silly and this is safe. I'm a traditionalist when it comes to my secrets.
I mean, cryptographically, just statistically speaking, it's probably safe. You shuffle the words and then you draw something on top of it that is not correlated to the shuffling. So it's going to be random. But the question is, right, what's better for remembering? As far as I understand, this is for your human memory. So obviously you can remember a shape nicely, but can you remember each pixel of that shape as easily as a couple of words? So that's the question. I don't know. I
want to try it. I'm really curious. I don't think I will be able to memorize this, but but so okay. So this I'm just reading this. This helps me understand. So you have to have your unmarked entropy grid. You have to keep that. So there is another element that it's not just memorizing the shape. you need that shuffled grid, but just the unmarked version. And you destroy the version that you mark up. So there is another thing that you need to get your money.
Yes.
It's not just this shape that you've memorized.
It would be interesting if they had a way to maybe create a hash of the grid so that at least you have a checksum or something like that.
It looks like there's some checksum stuff in here.
Yeah. Anyways, it's cool. Always show topsider and air gap import options. Thanks, Craig. Improve error message when Bitcoin Core wallet support is disabled. Update Spectre Desktop wallet import. Sparrow's pretty cool, man.
Mm-hmm.
I wish it was in Java, but that's the language that he does, and he does ship a lot.
I think we're going to talk about Sparrow at the Austin Bitcoin Design Club next week.
Oh, cool.
What is Sparrow? It's Python, right?
No. Oh, yeah. No. Sparrow is Java.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Electrum version 4.4.0. Electrum, it's been a while. By the way, for people that don't know, it is the oldest Bitcoin wallet aside from Bitcoin Core. I think they launched in 2011. New Android app using QML instead of Kiwi. Oh, that's a shame. I like Kiwi.
Isn't QML what Bitcoin.app is using as well?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, people don't want to do Kiwi. But I guess QML then would support Python somehow because Electrum is all Python. I don't know QML. We should look into it. Qt GUI update improvements. Privacy feature, Lightning support for option SCID alias. I don't know that one.
SCID alias.
Okay.
Like the short. If you have like shoot. I'm probably not gonna get this exactly right, but something to do with like zero comp channels and stuff. Mm-hmm. Like if you don't have a confirmation, you can't like derive the alias yet. So you make your own alias.
Qt GUI UTXO privacy analysis. Oh, that's kind of cool. So they have this new way for you to check the privacy that you have right now. They do some inferences there. I saw it on their tweet. It's a nice little option. CoinsTab, new menu that lets you easily spend a selection of UTXOs into a new channel or into a submarine swap. Internal Lightning invoice are regenerated every time routing hits are deprecated due to liquidity changes. Script descriptor are used internally to sign transactions. Electrum is a beast, man. It's a mess because it's a product of its time, right? I mean, it started so early that like everything had to change and be patched and sort of built on top. But it is a workhorse.
Do they still have their own Lightning implementation?
I think so.
Yeah, they do.
It's wild.
Yeah.
And they also run one of the very few trampoline nodes in the network. So I think Electrum uses trampoline for routing.
Yeah, like just selfishly speaking, I really wish they didn't do Lightning. They just focus on keeping their wallet like being great. Because, Lightning is like a whole other universe. I mean, I think it actually pushed the release of Electrum 4 by like 2 years or something because it was done on master. So like they couldn't release the wallet. So yeah, there is that. But it's nice to see it's being up to date. It's been a while. BTC Pay Server version 1.9.0. Exchange integration via plugins, improved digital receipts, improved NFC experience, new checkout presets, retail and online mode, new recovery seed phrase view, wallet labels. Oh, nice to see BIP 3.2.9 implemented. Label management refined. Restructure how metadata is viewed. Very nice. These guys keep on shipping. Do you guys use BTC Pay Server?
I've had one that I've like used just for privately billing people, and I really like the setup at Bitcoin Park for like buying snacks.
I think that isn't that one something else like IBEX or something like that.
It was IBEX, but they switched to BTC Pay.
Okay,
and it works pretty good. So I'm interested to see what else they're doing for their retail versus online mode because it already works pretty well as a point of sale.
It's one more of those projects that I wish was not in the language that it is. Like because it's C#, I'm like, nope.
I had to build it once for some reason. I forget why. And it was a lot of Docker.
Yeah.
It was like Docker shielding me from C#. But the BIP 329 stuff is, I mean, that's like a spec that Craig Raw Sparrow has been like pushing for import export. So that's great.
Yep. All right. RoboSats version 0.4.3-alpha support for Iranian Toman. Well, sounds like they are doing. They have Iranian customers. Order book performance improvement. Android app now launches a Telegram client. Add multi-architecture builds for Android. Improve order book, and a bunch of other little things. Very nice. I have not used it yet.
Same.
I just know that something like RoboSats is great for testing your Lightning software because they use HODL invoices. So you'll have an invoice stuck for an amount of time until your order is filled. And building apps, when you have multiple software pieces talking to each other and then suddenly something times out, very ugly things can happen. Like you expect the payment to go through, but it doesn't. Then you do the accounting and then you fail, blah, 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 blah. All the problems you don't have with on-chain Bitcoin. So
nice.
I can recommend people looking into it. It's very, very cool trading platform, actually.
I mean, I should actually download it and just try, sell some cashews. Yeah, I mean, like, if you need something to sell, just create a cashew and sell for a couple sats,
Sell cashews for Iranian Tomans.
That's right. Probably illegal.
Probably.
Bisq version 1.9.10 pre-release. There's release expected improvements under the hood, blah, blah, blah. Always include high payload, blah, blah. Oh, there's a lot. And it's kind of like a marketing text kind of thing. Bisq is great. It's kind of cool that it's still in use and sort of plowing through it. And, it's an alternative.
I'm curious if the RoboSats and Bisq volume has changed much since Paxful shut down.
I imagine probably a lot.
I mean, they're kind of in the same space.
But at the same time, it's like, I feel like the great majority of Paxful volume came from people that would never fully understand under the hood. That wouldn't be sort of using this more advanced kind of solutions. They were more sort of like, Joe selling some gift cards to go use it in some other country that you can't use the thing.
Right.
Sort of like selling M-Pesa credits and that kind of stuff.
I kind of have this thesis that we're kind of working from, I think it's something Parker Lewis said, is like Bitcoin or best practices are best practices. So like there's going to be like lots of upstarts and phases throughout like hyper Bitcoinization where something that kind of cuts corners or does something that's not like fully Bitcoin-y, not fully cypherpunk, that it will succeed for a while, but there's kind of like a long-term trajectory towards the cypherpunk way will be the way in the long run.
All these projects, they have this funny long tail curve. So like they go up, right, when they launch and like they clearly hit a product market fit, right? And then sort of like they keep on going up. And then like they find a new competitor, so they drop a bit. And then they just keep on sort of like going on this like upwards, long, like low incline, but still up incline through a long time. And then the state comes and shoots them. And then they drop to zero.
Right, because they're lacking that upward trajectory. They're not like building defenses. They're just kind of like...
No, they're cashing in and trying to grow the market. But like, anything that is centralized and breaking rules, like it's on borrowed time. Right? Yeah. Like all of these are going to get like shut down. It really is that simple. So you better capitalize as much as you can before you get shut down by the state, right?
So that's my plan.
Solid. All right. So libwally-core version 0.8.9, Taproot support, BIP32 descriptors, PSBT finalization improvements, elements support, and build support embed TLS native
libwally-core is, I had to look it up, cross-language collection of useful primitives for cryptocurrency wallets.
I think they use it across, like Blockstream uses across different projects, basically. So if you scroll down, you can see that the Green wallet uses it, and I think other apps basically that use cryptography.
They created that as kind of like a BDK of sorts for people to do Liquid, if I remember right. So like there was no easy way for people to integrate, and this does it. That's why it does elements and all that stuff. nix-bitcoin version 0.0.90. You really want to say that you're alpha here.
But nix-bitcoin has been out for like 3 years. This is like one of the first ways I ever tried to run Bitcoin.
That's right. Trusted Coin package and module. Trusted Coin is a C Lightning plugin that allows places Bitcoin trusted public explorers. Useful for demos. Okay. nix-bitcoin is a very cool, it's deterministic build Linux by, I can't remember, it's a Nickler, right? And somebody else who maintains it. All right. Nunchuk Desktop version 1.9.18. Minor improvements in UI flow performance, fix bug, sync data, enable service tab with new feature, emergency lockdown, recover, tap signer, enable chat with expert Nunchuk support send attachment for premium account support. Very cool. Hugo, still shipping lots. Blockstream Green iOS version 4.0.0. Redesigned look and improved UX, adapting to individual self-custody needs. Ability to create accounts with different security levels and manage funds across them.
I need to look into this. Right now I have like a Figma with like a comparison of like maybe 6 different Bitcoin wallets, like from the UI perspective, just like looking at different send flows and receive flows. So now that there's a new UX, I got to collect it and inspect it.
It's not my thing, their UX. It's a little, it looks easy, but it's actually confusing, but it did improve.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit like Nunchuk is also great, but because Nunchuk is trying to do all this key versus wallet separation, it also gets confusing. But that's what you need if you're doing multi-sig, right? So like, it's one of those things that like, there is no good answer. It's the same reason why like COLDCARD is like, you know, there's some peculiarities to it. I mean, because there is no alternative.
Yeah. There's might just be some inherent complexity in some of these things.
That's right. Trezor version 23.4.1 pre-release. CoinJoin is available for Trezor Model T. Mind you, this is Wasabi CoinJoin, which is good, but it does send all your transactions through chain analysis. Upload full screen custom backgrounds on Model T. Okay. Huge update there. You can put new pictures. Fully noded version 0.6.1. Lightning can now be used without on-chain node added. Join Market can now be used without on-chain node added. Nostr functionality has been improved. General UI, UX improvements, and bug fixes. Very cool. Fully Noded is a very interesting project that sort of, you know, I think it's its own thing, right? Like there's nobody else that does that.
It's its own hardware and software package, right? Like
No. You connect to your node, and your node can be any kind of thing. You don't run.
It's a hardware.
It's kind of like a Zeus for your node. Yeah. Liana version 0.4, more usable, more recovery paths. We covered some of that on the Upvault round 2 episode. We talk about this pre-signed transactions and how Upvault fixes all that. mycitadel version 1.2. I don't know this software. More supported hardware wallets, updated dependencies, and support for hardware signers. Do you guys know mycitadel?
No, I'm looking it up right now. Oh, it's a Bitcoin Lightning and RGB wallet.
Okay.
Yeah, I've also been hearing about it in the context of RGB because it's one of the few projects that already support it.
Oh, I see. RGB is interesting. So RGB Core version 0.10.0. The release represents deep refactoring of RGB and a bunch of other little things there. So RGB is kind of cool because, you know, it's a way for shitcoiners to do shitcoining on Bitcoin and help us kill the rest of the shitcoins. That's how I look at it.
Hopefully.
hopefully.
I was recently asking around, how do you make shitcoins obsolete without putting them onto Bitcoin? And I think I don't know. I mean, I don't have an answer to that question, but I think it's interesting to think about. There's this group of Bitcoiners who want to keep shitcoins as far as possible away from Bitcoin, and the other ones that think that you can basically make them all irrelevant by creating assets on top of Bitcoin or sidechains or whatever all the different constructions allow us.
Yeah. Well, I think that the problem is that there is a huge market for gambling and scams, right? I mean, like the market demand is there. People want to go degen.
Mm-hmm.
So my view is that as long as it's not stuff that sort of like breaks Bitcoin in any way, I really don't care. I'd rather it be on Bitcoin than it be on like giving value to, say, Ethereum or something.
Absolutely. I just think it's on us as Bitcoiners to let people know that because a shitcoin is running on top of Bitcoin does not make it suddenly less of a scam, basically.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a better engineered scam.
That's right. The problem is like the shitcoiners, especially the shitcoiners that are trying to do stuff on top of Bitcoin, they're very good at affinity scamming, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a fine line there. I don't want people buying shitcoins, but if people are going to do shitcoins, at least add value to Bitcoin.
There's also this one more point that adding a shitcoin onto Bitcoin means that you're adding more or different set of incentives also to the Bitcoin network implicitly. So, I mean, I don't know, imagine having a big stablecoin issuer on Bitcoin that suddenly becomes super popular.
We did.
And then you have the
kind of
American government suddenly.
Remember Luna?
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, but but the thing is, it's the same with inscriptions shit. Like, the same principles that defend my transactions, right, on Bitcoin will defend anybody doing their shitcoining on top of Bitcoin too, right? Like it's volunteered and is free, like it's in freedom, right? I mean, like you can do whatever the fuck you want as long as the transaction is valid. That's how Bitcoin works. We can't censor it.
You agree?
Well, maybe layer 3 will fix some of that. Descriptor wallet library. So Descriptor wallet library version 0.9.2, library for building Descriptor-based Bitcoin wallets. Okay, well, that's interesting. Let's see here. Improved command line explorer. Okay, so that's like, it's like kind of like a CLI tool for you to build descriptors. Okay, cool. All right. Any other Bitcoin specific software update I might have missed?
Nothing that I know about. I think I can check a BitDevs list that I regularly track, but I think we covered a fair bit.
All right, so Lightning software updates releases. Okay, Zeus. Oh, wait. Before Zeus, we have MutinyNet. Launched. Paul, why don't you read your notes?
What do you mean? I'll read the notes.
You read the notes. It's.
Why don't I read them? Oh, yeah. I thought you were criticizing me. You're making a request. It's this cultural difference. Yeah, MutinyNet is we're launching our own shitcoin, and it's cooler and faster than Bitcoin. It just has no value. Basically, it's a signet that with 30-second block times, which is actually funny. We actually set this up so that it would run a signet that would run with 30-second block times, but signet has a difficulty adjustment, so it was just trending back to 10 minutes. So Ben made a pull request on Bitcoin Core to make this a configurable thing so that you can set a block time target for a custom signet. There's a little bit of discussion in the pull request, but it seems like people are mostly in favor. But it's great for Lightning. This is a great transition from Bitcoin to Lightning because it's great for Lightning because if you're testing out, you're sitting there like waiting for 6 confirmations for a Lightning channel or something like that. It's the difference between like, a few minutes and an hour. So it's really nice for us. And then we launched MutinyNet kind of as a public thing because we want to have this sort of ongoing, we're running nodes in the browser. So there's obviously a lot that can go wrong with communicating with peers and stuff. So we want them to be popping on and offline and making sure that they're continuing to have channels with each other. So we want this kind of long-lived test network for testing between ourselves. So yeah, it's been pretty fun. We got a faucet, we got a mempool, we got Electris, we've got like a rapid gossip sync server. We got a lot of infrastructure.
So when are you guys going to start selling Signet tokens?
Soon.
It's Bitcoin, right?
First person to offer a submarine swap from MutinyNet to mainnet.
I've heard totally possible.
I've heard some
Totally
rumor. I don't know if this is an old wives' tale, but like the moment somebody like monetized like testnet, they'll like wipe it and start a new testnet or something like that. There's like some sort of...
So that happened a few times way back. Gavin, I think, wiped it once on actual. It was pre-Signet. It was just testnet. People were trying to sell testnet coins.
Yeah, I mean, testnet is just, it's really hard to get liquidity. And also on Lightning, it's kind of a graveyard of like people like me, like who like, hey, let me fire up a testnet node because I'm working on a project, and you test something and then you just leave it running. And now you have like an illiquid, shitty node in the network that maybe is discoverable, but not helpful for routing. So it's just kind of worst of a lot of worlds.
Yeah. All right. Zeus version 0.7.5-alpha 1 pre-release. New camera with Samsung Galaxy support. New payment path view. Handle display in-flight payments. External link warning plus prompt. iOS clear saved settings on an install. Settings display show all decimal places. Lightning address. Handle addresses hosted on Tor. LNURL W patch for fixed amounts. Zeus is a beast.
Oh man, Zeus is so cool.
Yeah. Evan is doing such a great job.
This I haven't seen this yet. So does it show you the path that your Lightning payment has taken actually after paying it? That would be pretty cool. I wish more wallets would do that to visualize, a couple of hops that the payment did after it succeeds. Or maybe during pathfinding even would be a nice way of UX or feedback for the user. So to see that your node is trying out different paths across the network.
This came up at Austin Bitcoin Design Club once, and we kind of like brainstormed on it, and I made like a visualization for it that I haven't wired up anywhere. But yeah, it is literally like searching through these paths and just showing you all these different branches that it could go down, and then it lands on one. So that
would be the best loading screen or loading indicator for a Lightning payment I can imagine. Really cool.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool, right? And you can do it kind of artistically kind of thing.
Yeah, it could look cool. And it's just like, oh, something cool is coming. But if you actually know what's going on, like you realize that you're getting an insight into how well connected you are.
Yeah, it also gives you some feedback about why a payment might be stuck currently, because maybe you're just stuck on one route and that route is stuck, or the other option might be that your wallet is actually trying on thousands of different routes, and you as a user, you don't really have a way to distinguish those two things. With that, you would be actually to know.
Nice.
Another thing I really like here is this here show all decimal places in the settings, which I find very cool, and something that
please.
More wallets or every single wallet on the planet needs to adopt is to, don't crop the zeros after your Bitcoin display. If you tell me it's 0.0321 Bitcoin, I don't know what you're talking about. I need the zeros at the end to convert it into Satoshis, because that's what my brain already thinks in for values lower than 0.1 Bitcoin or something.
Yeah, just give me the option on the menu, right? I mean, I get it that like they may not want to show to everybody, but Bitcoin has zeros. Get used to it.
Don't crop your zeros.
Well, maybe one sat $1 will come about, and then all these problems will be resolved. Blixt version 0.6.6 updated LND to LND version 0.16. Added support for bimodal pathfinding. Added the ability to set label for a contact in the contact list. Sets amount on overview screen is now grouped.
Nice. Do we have LND's 0.16 in this list at all? I mean, that should definitely deserves its own point as well, because it's been a pretty big release that the guys just shoved out. And
we might have covered on the last list episode.
Oh yeah, so it's a very recent release, but it actually includes this bimodal pathfinding, which is based on René Picard's pathfinding experiments or research. someone implemented a variant of that into LND. And it's nice to see that we have already wallets where you can just flip a switch and use that. But
can
as far as
you
I know,
explain to us what it is?
just very shortly, I think. I mean, Paul probably knows better because he's very close to building something like that, I guess. But pathfinding usually is a simple problem where you just choose the shortest path in your database of Lightning nodes, basically, right? You have a gossip graph in your wallet, and then you try to find the path with the least amount of fee. Usually, that's the most simplest way. And bimodal pathfinding or probability-based pathfinding that René has been working on also considers what your view is of the liquidity of these channels. So what your belief is of the liquidity of the channels in the path, the liquidity distribution, I should say, which is usually you don't know it. But for example, if you make one payment in one direction once, you can update your belief about, okay, now the liquidity needs to be at least that or this. And you can formalize this into a mathematical package, basically.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I hadn't heard about this until just now, but I'm looking at the blog post, and part of this is based on this assumption and like empirical testing that typically liquidity on channels is lopsided in one direction or the other. So you don't want to assume that it would be nice if everything was like really balanced. That would make the algorithm simpler. But this like confronts the reality that typically liquidity is lopsided on channels and incorporates that into the algorithm.
Yeah, to be precise, so René Picard's work itself, I think, assumes a uniform distribution across the graph, and then it starts updating its belief from there. And the LND guys basically made their own version of it with some added assumptions. For example, I think one of those, that's why it's called bimodal pathfinding, that's their own contribution to this, is to assume that most channels either have the balance on one side or the other. And that's the probability distribution that they start with.
Cool. All right. Torque version 0.20.3. New peers page, basic Slack and Telegram integrations, embedded binaries, workflow logs, and a bunch of other stuff. Don't know what Torque is.
No, I'm looking it up right now. Oh, node management software.
Okay. Oh, yes, I remember now. Actually, we talked about it in the last episode. Yeah, no, it's very cool. It's like kind of like enterprisey way of managing a lot of Lightning nodes. Nutstash wallet. Nutstash wallet is now live on Umbro Apple Store. Calle, any comments about Nutstash wallet?
Yeah, absolutely. Surprising, nice thing here. It's by Gandalf21, who is one of the few courageous Cashew developers out there, and Nutstash wallet is his progressive web app. It's basically running in your browser. It's a Cashew wallet running in your browser, and you can try it on nutstash.app. But now it's also in the Umbrel App Store, which means that if you want to use it on your node, you don't have to access an external website for that anymore. You can just run it on your own thing. And the nice thing about also running it on your own hardware is that Gandalf is working on a live backup scheme that will then be able to back up all your eCash basically for every single transaction that you do directly onto your node. That is pretty cool.
Phoenix iOS version 1.6.0. Add Tor support, add screen to export your local payments as CSV, add a screen to easily reset the wallet data. Man, like this is every freaking wallet needs to be able to export your payments in CSV format, even if the formats don't match, because like people need to do accounting, people need to do things. So export the data. Don't want to have to send a screenshot to the bookkeeper. Anyway, so that's a good one. Wavlake account no longer needed to boost. Wavlake Radio Lounge creates playlists to tracks for discovering new music. It's very cool. I think it's Nostr based, right?
Value for value kind of thing? Yeah,
it's value for value music, kind of like a SoundCloud kind of thing. But LN boosting, and if I remember right, was built on Nostr, or maybe not. The Nostr, I think it's later on the list, but I'll bring it up now. So
I just checked that Wavlake. Yeah, you just go to a song, a lot like SoundCloud, and you can click boost, and it just shows you an invoice. So you can just pay an invoice.
Yes. So there is this other project. It's not live yet, at least not publicly. But you can see Rock, who works at, I think he works on Cash App. I think it's his project. It's called stemstir.app. And it's kind of like that. You can upload your files. I don't know where the actual binary data goes to, but the text data goes as a note and is linked to your Nostr key pair. And then you can, people can sort of like boost you and sort of like, anyways, SoundCloud. It's kind of cool. There is a few of those projects kind of like going on. Figured that was a good place to add it. Satimoto, electric vehicle charging. Yeah.
I have one thing here to say about Satimoto. I met the guy and he explained to me this app, and it's truly fascinating. So this is a electric vehicle charging app, which means that if you have an electric vehicle, it just plugs into existing infrastructure and you can charge your phone with Bitcoin. So it sounds like it's just this product, but what this guy has actually built is a full Lightning node inside this app. So unlike...
so that's cool. The electric vehicle charging part, I don't know, but
yeah, I mean, usually you would assume or expect someone offering a service for Bitcoin that they have some kind of a custodial setup somewhere in the background and you buy, I don't know, some kind of a balance or so. But this guy literally put a whole Lightning node inside the app itself, which means that if you use that service, it's fully self-sovereign node on your phone.
Nice.
Yeah, it looks like it's built on LND.
Zaprite rebuild database migrated from Firebase to Postgres. Man, Firebase was so much better before Google. Checkouts and a bunch of other improvements.
Yeah, they've been working on this relaunch for a while, re-architecture. I'm really excited about it. I think it will, because like Zaprite has kind of a platform aspect. Like it is just sort of like a small business way to like, bill people in Bitcoin and stuff like that, but it has a lot of integrations. And so by having like a more hardened backend, I think a lot more is going to be feasible to use this. So I'm excited to play with it. I know the people working on it.
Nice.
Pretty happy for them.
All right. Any other Lightning software updates that we should know about? No. All right. Bitcoin and Lightning project spotlight. Bitcoin.rocks, simple website explaining why Bitcoin rocks. Perfect for orange peeling. PSBT.io, that's a Pablo project, I think. Nice little way for you to construct and deconstruct PSBTs, right? No, it's if this then that for PSBTs. Very cool. Good domain too.
You send Bitcoin transactions when certain conditions are met.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Mercury wallet release, mercury-node, lightweight Bitcoin Lightning node implementation.
Hold on, is this a whole implementation of a Lightning node? Just like that?
Just like that. I think it is.
What is it based on? LDK. Here we go. Yeah, LDK is changing everything. It's crazy.
Yeah, that old rule, like if two nodes implement a feature, then it's like consensus. It's does it count if you built your node on top of LDK? Because Mutiny, we're going to build a node like this.
Is it ready yet?
No. We have been working on getting it's really web focused right now, so we're kind of like compartmentalizing the code so that the web specific stuff is in its own structure, so that the Rust LDK node part, it will be easy to ship to like a server or something. Again, like something like this. But yeah, if we add a feature to that and a Mercury node adds a feature, then that's consensus now, right?
Yeah, it is. Well, that's the cool thing that I like about layer 2 is that like you don't have to be in full consensus with everyone because you can always fall back to Bitcoin to clear. Parmanode by Armin the Parman. It's a cool little project. Armin has a lot of like interesting guides and a lot of education around Bitcoin custody and things. and he has now his own little node package sort of solution.
It's like an Umbrel type of thing.
Yeah, minus the UI and stuff. LNproxy.org creates wrapped invoices, VPN-like privacy for Lightning. Have you guys used that?
I haven't used it, but I love it. I love it conceptually, and I love the interface. The interface is kind of a inspo for at Voltage. We made our Flow 2.0 on-demand LSP thing. So like we make zero comp channels, but we do it by wrapping a Lightning invoice. So like the minimal UX of the LSP is exactly like LN proxy, where you just paste in an invoice, get back a wrapped invoice, and when that's paid, you get a channel. So anyways, love just conceptually in Lightning. It's very interesting that you can gain privacy through this sort of indirection without, it's not custodial because the receiver is the one that knows the pre-image.
Cool.
So you can wrap it, and as long as you keep that pre-image the same, that nobody along the chain of wrapping actually is able to sweep the funds.
Very nice.
Yeah, what I like about this is LN Proxy is a bit of a punk project. Basically, it gives you all the benefits of, outstanding and developed on Lightning improvements like Bolt 12, blinded paths, or trampoline routing, and all these things that also have a consensus part in which the people have to agree on the protocol. But LN Proxy is, it's like the LN URL version of blinded path, basically. Just a dude that came up with the idea and just runs it, and it's fine. You don't need to upgrade anything. It's not the best and most elegant way of solving it, but it just works today. And you can run it yourself and be an LN proxy for other people as well.
Cool. Yeah, I love this. Like, I am a huge fan of this don't ask for permission kind of way of doing things. It might not be great, might not be what people want, but you don't need permission. Just go and make it. All right. Now we get to the Nostr part of the show. There's a lot of updates on it, a lot of them related to Bitcoin as well. So NIP47, Nostr Wallet Connect, makes zaps possible without the user needing to open a different app to only pay a Lightning invoice. That's nice. Another NIP15, Nostr Marketplace. Is pretty excited about this one. It just helps formalize a little bit like what a Nostr note for a market should look like. That's going to be a huge deal. But cool thing about Nostr is that you don't even need to use this NIP if you don't want to make markets either. There is now Anan, what's the name? God damn, Pablo and the names. Anana Nostr.
What's that?
AnanaNostr.com is, Anana is in pineapple, by the way. Anana Nostr is a Craigslist for Nostr. It's pretty cool.
So yeah, I think this is really, really cool actually, that people start building more complex protocols on top of Nostr, where something like NIP15, I haven't been directly involved with it, but I was very close to, Ben and Vlad and Tal, parts of the LNBits team has been working on this. And so you have this interactive protocols already emerging on top of Nostr itself, where you can imagine like buying a product on a shop and paying for it and getting back the confirmation. All of these things takes a couple of back and forth between the market and the customer. So very cool to see that people are working in that direction.
Yeah, it just goes back to the reason why I always bring Nostr on Bitcoin and Bitcoin on Nostr. It's like these two things are a match made in heaven.
I'm really excited about the merchant stuff. I haven't read this specific spec, but I do think there's a long run decentralization potential for commerce. There's a lot of inefficiencies that we solved by put all the pencils in big Amazon warehouses near big cities, so you can get same day deliveries and stuff. It's there's lots of people that have pencils that are a lot closer to me than those.
Yes.
And so if there were good ways to discover them without, I don't know. I want to be able to put out an RF request for a proposal when I want to buy a pencil, and then have some decentralized swarm bid on this need and show me the best way to satisfy. Anyways, there's a lot of potential there.
It's funny. Alibaba tries to do that, right? When you put a bid on a soft bid, really, on or a proposal, as they call it, on manufacture of a thing, they will also offer you another 10 manufacturers to do the same thing, and you can press a button that just essentially pushes that as a request offer, right, to a bunch of other ones. And it's all poorly made, horrible UX, and then it just ends up being spammed. But if that was done right, the concept is very similar, right? I mean, it's like, I need a pencil of this spec, right? Like, can I please get a bunch of offers? You know what I mean? With a pencil of this spec. And then it's like, oh, I like this one because is the sort of like in the X and Y axis is like quality and price, you know what I mean? And like location kind of, like it hits the right spot and like poof, pay.
Yeah.
I think it'll come. I really do. All right. So Demos version 1.4.3. I think there's like another few versions that came after that one as well. So they have a bunch of new updates. It's really cool. I've been skipping very detailed releases on Nostr just because there's so much going on. Snort Social version 0.1.6. They have an IP5 management page. So you can, I just saw that you can actually have multiple accounts now on Snort. Amethyst is also progressing well, version 0.32.2. Lots of stuff. And they have lightning pools. Forgot the nip now, but those are cool. nblog version 0.3.0. So this is essentially a ghost replacement on Nostr. This one was a bounty that I had a while back. So he's still adding more things. And he supports Atom feeds now. That's really cool. So instead of using Substack or Ghost to have your company blog, you can use nblog.
Yeah, we just set up a Ghost blog for Mutiny, and I was like, I bet there's some Nostr thing soon, but we also wanted
there is already 3.
Yeah, we wanted something that we like knew would work, and we didn't have to spend too much time fiddling with. But I hope to at least be able to like republish.
So here's the cool thing: my request and my bounty, which nblog did meet, is that it has to be as easy as forking the repo and pressing the button start GitHub page. So it's hosted on GitHub pages.
Nice.
And like, yeah, it's quite amazing actually. So yeah, you guys should try that. Coracle version 0.2.23. Use relays specified in bag32 entities. Add caller relay indicator. So Coracle is a very cool web client that's like growing. It's getting some more market share too. And they also support multiple rooms, right? Like multiple chat rooms kind of thing. All right. Nostr Project Spotlights. Nostri. Again, another one by Pablo. Publish a Nostr note when something happens. It's kind of like if this, then that for Nostr.
He's just really into cron jobs right now.
Yeah, I think so. He just learned about cron jobs and TypeScript.
If I have an element of feedback for Pablo, he needs the link to his GitHub so it's easier to stalk him on GitHub.
I know. He also launched, what's the name of that thing again? Jesus Christ, the name's Pablo. Okay, Zapworthy. It's like an extension to post things on Nostr as a note, like properly sort of formatted and stuff. That's cool. We can add to the notes after Nostr. NostrGraph Dashboard. Get insights into your Nostr network, your events, summarize your delay events by kind, and a bunch of other stuff there. That's kind of cool. Oh yeah, so another one is primal.net. They've greatly improved their analytics. It's really cool. So if you go to primal.net/explore, I'll add this to the notes as well. It's the only one that you can get a true view of the network. Super, super cool. So Nostr has right now 470,000 active users. And then you can see your immediate network, your expanded network, and a bunch of other things. I really like that. I've been using it a lot. And if you want to know your true follower count, you can just put your npub there, and they will show you your profile, and you'd be surprised at how many followers you have.
Can you repeat the URL again?
It's primal.net.
Yeah, I'm scared that Primal is just too good. Like I might just.
Well,
maybe it's not scary. Like it could just be the fact that this will be a better way to use Nostr is that you kind of have a proxy, which is a server that subscribes to a bunch of relays on your behalf, so that your client isn't sending gigabytes of JSON back and forth all the time.
Yeah, I mean, like the current solutions don't really scale, right? I mean, it's completely unrealistic to have clients being sort of like so dumb, right? There's supposed to be dumb relays and smart clients. Right now we have like, dumb relays and dumb clients. So like
it's a good start.
So Milian, the guy building Primal, he's gonna release their caching server open source soon, so people can use it. So a caching server that's done like very well is very important. I think that's going to resolve a lot of the issues. And then maybe you can run that caching server locally. Maybe it has to be a server. I don't know.
Yeah. If I could like spin up like a $5 DigitalOcean box that does all my Nostr caching, and I just hit that with like one WebSocket connection and get the minimal data that my client needs. Yeah.
Your phone battery is going to last. In Nostr right now is like the phone battery gone.
There's something on this list that might interest you. We're gonna come to it.
Cool. Nostri.chat, a widget chat for your website. That's also Pablo. So Pablo's attempt now is to build one sort of like little app for every possible thing that Nostr can do, so that he can learn. It's pretty cool.
He's like idea squatting.
That's right. He's totally idea squatting with terrible names. So Anana Nostr, I think we covered. N3XB, native Nostr no KYC exchange for Bitcoin. That's cool. So it's a layer 2 protocol inspired by and runs on top of Nostr. The goal is to be a simple but extensible protocol to facilitate exchanges and marketplaces interoperable, censorship resistant, privacy aware, and decentralized manner. Cool. I really want to see like Bitcoin trading on the Nostr protocol. It's just gonna be like perfect. Is this the one you wanted to talk about, Calle?
No, actually, I was looking down the list. There is another Nostr section coming up.
Yeah, how do you end up? I don't understand this list breakdown of how you end up in which portion of the list.
I think we've mangled a little bit the list today. The thing is, we're trying to figure out the right format, but we have actual software releases, right, with the commits and stuff on the top, and then we're trying to do is project spotlight. So like new projects that not necessarily I'm not gonna read their notes because it's new and maybe it's the only version that will ever be about. So we want to talk about them, and then there is sort of like news kind of thing, right? But news and project spotlights might overlap. Not a simple sort of way of breaking down. It's still trying to figure out something. Okay, so or should we do Bitcoin Optech to break it up a bit, and then we do more news and noteworthy? Yeah, let's do Optech. Paul is saying that I skipped the boosts. We'll get there. Thank you, Paul. I mean, you're already becoming a co-host there, and it's your first appearance. Very good.
Looking out for you.
Looking out. Okay. Boosts. All right. Purple Deer, thank you for the honest, fun, and technical signal. You all rock. Pura Vida, nice show, very informative. Magenta Panda, knowledge for plebes. Magenta Boar, these are all Breeze random generated accounts. Streaming Sats. North of the Wall, must be Canadian. Oh, okay. Sending key. Open. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. So he gave me Ape Myth Randier. Thank you, sir.
The note is just how to pronounce the name. That's, I know, right? That's really well played.
MR, Bass latest Fediment regarding summary. Thank you. North of the Wall, sir. I know you're kind of grumpy that we sound biased. Yes, we are, or at least I am fully biased. I have preferences. I have businesses. And I am not impartial. That is not the goal of this show. So I hope that clear. And if you're okay with that trade-off, I welcome you as a listener. All right. Optech 244, preventing stranded capital with multi-party channel and channel factories. If you guys want to comment, great. Otherwise, I'm going to let people sort of go dig. Watchtower accountability proofs on Optech 245.
Watchtowers have always been really interesting to me because I remember all the discussion when Lightning was first emerging. And it's like, how is this going to work? How is this not going to be centralized? And Watchtowers were in every single conversation. And like, I literally don't know anybody specifically who runs a Watchtower for anything.
I know, right?
Like, I know some people who've like worked on it a lot.
I do.
Of course you do, Calle.
Here we go.
No, I mean, it's included in LND.
It's the layer 3 people do those things.
If you have an LND node today, it's a simple switch, and suddenly you're a watchtower for others. And if you go search, there's a very nice GitHub issue. I'm not sure which repository that was, but it was just asking people to post their addresses, their IP addresses for those who are running a watchtower. So what I did is go there and just pick 10 random watchtowers or so and just add them to my Lightning node to sleep a little bit better at night, leaving this kind of dangerous machine that a Lightning node is being at least watched for by a couple of other peers.
Cool. And Optech 246, splicing specifications. That's kind of cool. That's coming out. Can't wait for splicing. These are all samples of Optech. Some news that we thought they were important. But there is a lot more to each of those. All right, so news and noteworthy. That was fast. Oh, actually, sorry, one more thing. Proposed BIP for transaction terminology, merch. He's working on that. That should be very helpful. All right, so news and noteworthy. The Bitcoin white paper is hidden in every modern copy of macOS. That was awesome.
I didn't actually check it on my computer yet.
It's totally, man. It's all there. Any MacBook after, I think, any Mac really after 2018, last version of the OS had it.
Mm-hmm.
Based.
You don't have any supporters on the show, right? I can swear.
Oh, yeah, please.
Yeah, Craig Wright, fuck you.
Yep, fuck Craig Wright. It's going to be hilarious if he sues Apple. I mean, like, hilarious.
Please do it, Craig. Please do it.
I would love that. Do you guys think Apple's going to remove this, or is Apple the larger Apple? Because Apple never seemed like a pro Bitcoin company. This is very much seems like a rogue employee type thing.
Yeah, so like Apple is kind of weird. Like they like to keep their employees on a leash in terms of public sort of speaking or talking about anything internal. But like they have like some of the best, most serious engineers in the planet. And a lot of these guys are fully based. They're just not allowed to have based opinions out loud. So, it's very possible they remove it like quietly on a following release kind of thing. But yeah, it would be cool if they don't. That would sort of quietly really give a hint,
Yeah, the canary in the coal mine.
That's right.
Yeah. It's like a based bat signal.
That's right. Lightning, resizing Lightning channels, off-chain, hierarchical channels. That was interesting. I couldn't understand really how this works, but if you guys want to comment on it.
Yeah, I mean, I've looked at it and I've skimmed over it, but it's a larger document, so I haven't taken
Very
the time.
large.
But the ambitions are insane. So if this turns out to be viable, it might really be a game changer. From what I could gather from this proposal was that it allows you to send channel capacity basically between pairs of peers. That means, when splicing is an improvement over closing a channel and opening a channel all in one transaction, this would allow you to do something similar to that without any transaction, basically using HTLCs inside the Lightning network, so you don't have to settle anything. So I think one paragraph in that paper is nicely, it sums it up with, what Lightning is for Bitcoin, hierarchical channels are for channel resizing, basically, or something like that.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, there is something going on, like in terms of like snowballing and accelerating advancements right now. Like I can't quite put the finger on it, but like there is something going on. It's like every week there is some essentially like discovery in this field, right? And like the pace of it, it's kind of like it's scary. Like, it's like there's some AI out there that's like now playing NIMS on Bitcoin and cryptography, and sort of like every week comes up with something completely absurd and new and totally doable. I don't know, man. It's crazy. Like it's hard to convey like how hard a lot of this new stuff is to come up with, and like how fast this stuff is coming up. Like, you always sort of have this picture of like, how many like real galaxy brain cryptographers there is out there. It's like 3 guys, like.
Yeah, I mean, but these are, something like this is a sign for that there is a person out there who spends a lot of time just thinking about this like one singular issue. Yeah, exactly. And writes up this also large document that tries to explain this. So, I mean, I just hope that the number of people doing that just can go up and up, because I literally think that the number of people cannot be that high. It's still Bitcoin, it's still niche. But as you said, what happens when, I don't know, the universities start teaching this stuff and it just generates more and more researchers?
I think the problem is like all the universities and everything else is starting to look boring comparing to the math you can play with on like Bitcoin, Lightning, Nostr, and this.
No, that's not true. I mean, look at cryptography papers. This is academic work. You can see that people producing these papers probably were doing academic work as well.
Yeah, I know, but they're not doing this in the school, right? Like they're doing this on their spare time. Like probably spend the last 2 years thinking about this problem. Like they have the skills and the knowledge, and they're like shooting this stuff on mailing lists, right? Like they're not publishing this in some like, journal or anything else. It's just like all this stuff is coming as practical, usable things. That's to me, the sort of like, whoa moment here. It's like every other week something comes out.
We have a local cryptographer in Austin. I don't think he's even like a Bitcoiner really, but he comes to the Bit Devs, and it's just, I mean, it is wild because it's like I don't understand most of what he's saying, but he is typically able to like boil down to like, okay, what's the takeaway? And like, obviously as Bitcoiners, we don't just care about this for the math, like we care about it like for the UX improvement. And here's obviously sounds like a huge UX improvement. I'm curious what you guys think of like the pipeline. What are like the best ways that work, like that these people show up? Is it because they like were studying cryptography in college or math in college, and then they got interested in Bitcoin, or where do we get these good ones from?
I think what's happening is it's like pure nerd sniping and catnip, right? Like, I mean, there is very few places and very few projects that like you can sort of like have like all this like interesting problem sets, right? Like, and all this interesting math to go around. I mean, just look at adapter signatures, right? I mean, that's like Bitcoin is like shoving stuff inside stuff, so you don't have to break going backwards, right? Like it's like absolutely crazy, challenging problems. And like these guys now have a place where like the math is interesting, everything is interesting, the purpose is interesting, and if it works, like it gets deployed. Like it's very rare that you have this stuff in other fields, like at least in the fast space.
Absolutely agree on the motivation of working on Bitcoin is different from working on just an intellectual problem or something. But I think still the level of technical expertise that you need for most of these things indicates strongly that these are people doing it professionally somehow before in the academia world, or being mathematicians, being computer scientists or something like that. So,
but like look at like Naval, for example, right? Like
Naval
is like sub 20, or he's like 20 now.
There are many exceptions to this. It's not a rule. I mean, it's just trying to make an observation, I think. But if this is true, what I'm saying, it might be wrong. But if this is true, then it would mean that also academia plays a role, should play a better role, or more, be more involved with Bitcoin development itself. Because as we've said before, I mean, there's a very big number of people potentially being useful for Bitcoin who just simply don't know about it.
I don't know, man. You go to all these universities, all that they do is shitcoin stuff. Like 99% of their curriculum related to this stuff is all like pure unadulterated garbage shitcoin things. Like MIT, like all these guys hate Bitcoin too because they're all sour grapes. And like, you know, the climate, Bitcoin is bad for the climate. And like, I don't know. I'm very disenchanted with academia and Bitcoin sort of relationship. It's just so bad. It's been so bad. I don't know. Maybe it will change.
Good thing it's a decentralized system as well. So you cannot really generalize over all of them. There's always the ones that follow the stream and the ones that flow against it. Right?
All right. Calle is going to take the position to defend academia. Fine, Calle.
It's fine to me. I was going to tell you, Satoshi was an academic.
I think he was a criminal. Well, I mean, you know, his crime shouldn't be a crime, but still. LightSpark platform launches.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so excited about LightSpark that if you go to the pricing page for $300,000 a month of monthly Lightning transactions, you using their API, like basically like a Stripe style API, costs $1,500 a month. So LightSpark has basically said like, hey, I bet you can't provide a nice way to use Lightning for a business for less than $1,500 a month. So it's just like this awesome like benchmark. It's like, oh, beat LightSpark, you know? So it's a nice little challenge to everybody out there. Beat LightSpark. Make this UX, because it is a nice UX. It's a pretty simple API to use Lightning with no worries. And it's just an absurd price.
Do they also offer fiat
that's the
services?
tier one.
Like, do they also offer fiat stuff? So do they send you fiat to your bank account or something like that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Oh wait, LightSpark is the Libra guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is like huge VC bucks, like millions of dollars have gone into this.
But, you know, it makes sense. I mean, you know, like, honestly, like, if you're a little bit bigger business and you need all the checkbox, like, stuff done, compliance and sort of auditing and all that stuff, you know, like, that's actually cheap.
I guess there are different ways of approaching a market, right? Some try it from the lower bound and others try it from the upper bound. And the ones on the upper bound usually make all the money. So
that's right.
Yep.
MicroStrategy converted all company emails to Lightning addresses. That was cool. That was a cute little thing. You can tip anyone now at MicroStrategy. Wallets of Satoshi processed 905,000 Lightning payments in March. I bet like 90% of it is Nostr zapping. Wallets of Satoshi points of sale first look. All right, Nostr, CivKit, a peer-to-peer electronic market system proposed by Nicholas Gregory, Ray Youssef, and Antoine Riard. Wasn't that called Anon or something like that?
You mean Noons or something? Because Paxful closed and they redirected their customers to a new service called Noons, I think. One of also a similar marketplace thing. But as far as I understood, this is a disconnected from that in the sense that it's a proposal to, as it says, to build peer-to-peer markets.
Nice. We're going to have a lot of these in the next
few months. Already a couple of contestants for this role, which is you could say it's not so good because it's maybe not efficient to work on different things, but I think it's actually we're so early. Right? It needs to, some need to die, some need to survive.
I also think that is imperative that you have multiple types of markets with different kinds of trade-offs, right? So like you have some that are optimized for, I don't know, like faster trading, right? So people are trading actual digital assets. And then you have like some that are for you to trade like, I don't know, like broken barbecues. You know what I mean? Like you want to sell them on the side of the road. Yeah, like we need variety, guys. Don't try to all work together. Compete with each other a little. LNBits announces Nostr Market, Nostr Client, and Nostr related extensions.
Yeah.
Why don't you run us down over it?
Yeah, we had a Nostr spree in the last couple of weeks in our team at LNBits, and so one thing that we've been working on, as we also talked about before, this NIP 15, which is markets, and we also have made the software for that can use that NIP. So there is this Nostr market has two parts. It's the market that runs in your LNBits node. And you can add, different products and stuff like that, and then you publish the market to Nostr. And then there's a web client that you can run on a separate device or just runs locally. It's a Nostr client, but all it does is go to relays and ask them for markets and for styles and for all these products. And when you want to buy something, it basically sends signals back to the market, and the market has all the Lightning stuff built in as well because it's running on LNBits node. So it'll send you, for your order, it will send you a Lightning invoice. You pay the invoice, then the market knows you paid the invoice, and so on and so forth. And if you want to, if you need support or whatever, you can just just immediately go to the DMs and start DMing with the Nostr market owner. So that is pretty cool. I think, very, very excited to see what people will start selling. I think, have a low barrier of entry for these decentralized markets will be very interesting to watch.
Very cool. Well, plus you guys have all the infrastructure for Lightning, right? So that's...
Yeah, exactly.
That makes it...
So, yeah, speaking of the Nostr client, that is the one with the most boring name, but it's basically, so we call it Nostr client or Nostr multiplexer. It is what it's a tool for LNBits itself. So it runs in the background and gives all the other extensions ability to talk to Nostr. It's basically an always-on Nostr client that runs on your computer or on your node, and other parts of your software can use it. What you can also use it for, though, is what we've talked about before, which is this multiplexing. So right now, what I'm doing actually with this, also to test its limits, is I have one server on my server. I have this Nostr client running, and this Nostr client is connected to 25 relays or so. And it can bundle all the traffic coming from those relays and relay it back into one WebSocket. So my Nostr client on my phone has one relay configured now, which is my Nostr client multiplexer thing. And from there out, it spans into 20 different relays. So that's great for battery and probably also traffic and so on.
You're living the dream.
Yep. Check it out. And the last one is Nostr Relay, which is insane work by Vlad. He literally just built a relay. So it has so many different things that it supports. Everything Lightning and payments is also integrated because it runs on LNBits. So you can just spin up a paid Nostr relay and offer it to others, sell nibs and all those nice things when you have it all together in LNBits package. So definitely check it out.
It's really funny, isn't it? It seems that men rather build Nostr relays than go to therapy. Is totally true. The amount of guys I know who just sort of and I spent the holidays building a relay.
Oops.
But it really goes to show, right? The power of the Nostr sort of protocol design. It's very interesting how fast it can put together a relay based on your preference of language and trade-offs and things, and it works. Try to build TCP/IP stack.
Exactly.
It's not this is really, really amazing. The simplicity of Nostr really shines when you do stuff like this. All right, Voltage has launched support for Nostr, NIP5, Zaps, Lightning addresses.
Yeah, so this was the last thing I worked on at Voltage before starting at Mutiny full time, and I was really excited about it because it basically means that any Voltage node can easily have a Lightning address or multiple Lightning addresses in front of it. The other way to do that right now on Voltage is LNBits or BTC Pay. So you get a paul@vlt.ge kind of Lightning address, which is pretty nice. So go camp your name if you're interested in that. But I'm excited. Obviously Wallet Satoshi has been huge, and Voltage is not the perfect cypherpunk dream of running your own node, but it's more cypherpunk, I think, than a custodial Lightning wallet. So I think it's pretty nice.
So should I just should I use it instead of Breeze kind of thing? Is that will be that a comparison?
Do you get Zaps to Breeze?
No, nope. I do Zaps to what's the name? Albi.
Albi. Yeah, that's custodial, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so this would be less custodial. If you have a Lightning node on Voltage, the big thing there is you still have to manage your liquidity, which is, the Flow 2.0. So the other thing I worked on, the two things I worked on recently did not kiss. So ideally, you'd get automatic inbound liquidity so that you don't have to worry about that if you just set up a node just for zapping.
What's cool with Albi, it's still kind of segregated because I can use Zeus with Albi. So I can control my own sort of like, I'll be multi-tenant, I imagine, node there.
But the zaps won't work non-custodially because the payment needs to be managed by the entity sending back the zap to the Nostr network.
That's right.
By the way, so for the hackers out there, there's the LNURLP extension in LNBits. You can use the branch called Zaps, I think. That's what I've been working on. You can host your own non-custodial Zaps on your LNBits very, very easily without configuration, basically.
Very nice. All right. Privacy. Chivo wallet is flagging and freezing wallets who receive transactions from Wasabi. Like, duh. I mean, government wallet is going to do government wallet things, right? Like, but, like, they should just ping chain analysis and take the data directly. I mean,
I think they actually do. When I was in El Salvador, I heard someone told me that, the reason why the Lightning payments to Chivo takes 2 seconds or so is because on average, I don't know, I'm making this up, but 1.25 seconds of those are just chain analysis, sending the invoice to them and getting a green light back, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Yay.
So they already also employed.
Now I feel like censorship is an API, right? New Stratum V2 reference implementation updated job negotiator. That's cool. Stratum V2 is a huge upgrade to what we have now. Sweden to increase data center taxes by 6,000%. Man, Commie is like...
How's that even possible?
Yeah, I know. But like also like Commie is like really like... They really want to have fun staying poor, right? I mean, it's like, what are they going to do now? Like they should do that to gaming. Like if you game in your house, they're going to have
6,000%. 6,000.
That's right. It's so dumb. It's just, money just moves away.
Is this just for Bitcoin miners or is it for all data center activities?
I imagine they can't figure out. So they would just probably do it for all data centers. So they're not going to have data centers in Sweden anymore. Congratulations, Sweden.
Wrecked.
Do you know what is cool in the news? It was the meme that Pierre did with Riot Mining versus the New York Times. That was brilliant.
Oh, man.
So Pierre, first New York Times wrote a hit piece on mining in this town, a smaller town in Texas. And they went full retard, right? They did a hazy picture in a place that there's no haze. They got the name of the town wrong. And then they went with like full stupid carbon accounting article on it, right? And then Pierre in Pierre's fashion got like a good video media crew there. And he went around testing the air quality with an actual meter, of course, like perfect air quality. And then he went right on the miners and he checked
CO2 levels specifically.
That's right. CO2 levels. And it turns out that miners don't produce any CO2. It's amazing.
No way. Really? Just like electric vehicles, you mean?
That's right.
Oh, cool.
It's perfect. And he did it with the science. So believe the science, right? Because science is a belief system now. So anyway, so that was that. And then he got picked up by PC Game Magazine and like they managed to ratio.
They didn't get the joke.
So yeah, I know, right? People are so dumb in media, right? Like mainstream media. It's just so bad.
They aren't sending their best line. Like
that's
right. I feel like that is really the case in this New York Times thing. Like getting the name of the town that you're shitting on wrong is really brutal. Delightful. And then I feel like Pierre is like, we are sending our best.
Oh, we only have the best. You know what I mean? It's like Bitcoin wins because we have the best memers. Like we can do things. And then it gets better, right? And then I think it was Walter who like goes and creates a whole campaign called Stop the Presses. And they start comparing the New York Times and like how all the trees are getting cut because they're making paper.
Tree slaughterhouses.
Yes, that's right. Tree slaughterhouses. And they have a Twitter account. And man, it's just beautiful. And like they took the perfect page out of the Greenpeace ads as well. Like it's beautifully produced. I highly recommend. And I recommend also quote tweeting in rage that the environment is getting destroyed by the New York Times.
I mean, this whole topic is so fucked that you're not going to win or get anywhere with rational debate anymore, basically. It's out of the question already.
There never was.
It's only about the memes now. That is
That's
literally
right.
the battlefield is the meme space.
Yes.
And we're winning.
I mean, because it's full gaslighting, right? By politics, right? Full gaslighting. Carbon accounting is like, I mean, it's like you're looking me in the eyes and you're saying to me that I am an idiot. and then you sell me something and you tax what you just sold. Anyways, what are you going to do? We need to accelerate this. All right. Pocket acquires Bitcoin wallet BitKeepy. Okay. Strike Send globally is now available in Senegal, Benin, Rwanda, Ivory Coast, and Togo. Partner with BitNob. Zebedee partners with BitNob as well. Block partners with African crypto exchange Yellow Card. So I think they're going to have Cash App in some of those places. That's cool.
This is interesting. Many people will say these are custodial Lightning wallets, and now they just talk Lightning to each other. What does it even change or whatever? But what I see here is, obviously that's true. It's like companies, they use the Lightning Network. But the key point I think is interesting is that they use the Lightning Network for these kind of things now. We're seeing, cross-border payment companies literally basing their business model on Lightning, and also their inter-business relationships happening on Lightning itself. I think it, really shows that the goals of Lightning conquering the payment space in Bitcoin kind of really shines here.
Nice. Privacy, linking Liana, an entity linking Bitcoin transactions to IPs. I don't know about this one.
Oh yeah, that one is scary.
But fuck them.
So this is an entity since 2018 or so, at least, operating with lots of IP addresses connecting to every possible node out there. It's also active on the Monero network with the same IPs. You can check out the IP ranges. I was a bit surprised to see that my node was connected to multiple of those IPs. So,
it's very hard, right, to actively seek these assholes and sort of block them out.
Yep.
But thankfully, if you do some decent, how does Matt call it? Not mixing. He has another name for it. Anyways.
Collaborative
transactions and things of the sort. It's very hard for these guys to keep track of it.
Well, I've really been thinking about this a lot ever since. One of the interesting things about Nostr is that it's sort of a broadcast method. And there's a lot of aspects of Bitcoin that can work with broadcast. Obviously, a good example is we can broadcast the blocks from a satellite. That's not internet, that's not bidirectional communication, that's just a broadcast thing. And so publishing a transaction is also kind of a form. It doesn't need to be interactive. It should be broadcast.
Send TX, man.
Yeah, and so you can triangulate.
Push TX. Sorry,
push TX. What's push TX?
Well, it's just it's the API for you to push a transaction, right? So it could be done by anybody. You shouldn't be pushing even from your node, right? Like it should be something that just gets sort of, you do essentially a reverse timing attack, right? Nobody should know who pushed that transaction.
Right. So to actually I want to publish it in a broadcasty way, in a non-internet. So anyways, I'm hopeful that we find some good broadcast mechanisms in Bitcoin, especially in the long run. We camp one of these, whatever TV signal has PBS on it right now. We just publish Bitcoin things on it.
So I think these ideas, some of them are already out there, right? And if you're extra paranoid, for example, you can publish your transaction through mempool.space or something instead of publishing through your own node. But the big problem, I think, for Bitcoin Core is finding something that can be implemented into Bitcoin Core itself as a protocol or as a default something. So I would really love to see small daemons that take your transaction and pump it through Nostr, and then someone else picks it up and publishes it for you, for example. So that would be incredibly useful already. But, imagining that Bitcoin Core adopts this technique instead of researching others, I think that's a whole different story, in which seems to be, one of the biggest problems in terms of privacy right now for Bitcoin Core is that Dandelion doesn't really work without getting DOSed, or other types of relays protocols basically don't really help.
They have a new peer-to-peer protocol that they're working on, but that still doesn't really solve this, right?
You could very easily push a PSBT over Nostr and then just have somebody relay that, or ideally multiple nodes relay at the same time, right? That's really the best way of doing it.
Yeah. It would be great if someone would just build a very small tool that just does exactly that. It listens for Bitcoin transactions on Nostr. If it finds one, it publishes it through its own Bitcoin core. That would be very simple and nice thing to build. But having that applied, like deployed on a global scale, every Bitcoin core does that. So that gap is very hard to close, I think.
Yeah. I think somebody, I think it's us. I think one of our guys is building a finalizer. So like a web transaction finalizer. There is no reason why that couldn't be sort of extended into just also broadcasting the transaction, right? Because technically you could even just push the PSBT around after it was signed, but not finalized. And then somebody finalize it.
Nostr, all the things.
Yeah.
Build an LN proxy on Nostr.
If anything, it just keeps the spooks busy, like even if it's not a good solution. All right, LNBP Standard Association educational websites for learning about RGB. Launch of UK first Bitcoin-only policy organization, Bitcoin Policy UK. Audience question. Join market, Wasabi or Samurai, Bitcoin all caps. Definitely join market. Especially using Joinster.
That would also have been what I said, because join market is the one in the background with the bong, while Wasabi and Samurai are fighting in the foreground. So take the bong.
I mean, the fight really is over dollars, right? I mean, like realistically speaking, it's just a lot of money to be made being a centralized coordinator. So, as soon as we have like a focus and an effort, especially by educators, to get people on decentralized coordinators like joint markets, then things change. What it is surprising though is like with the amount of attention and like bullshit that the legal system in countries do around this stuff is like how this guy's still operating is amazing. Hopefully, Mutiny might solve some of those problems too. I still think that like through Lightning, we're going to have much better privacy once that's done better.
Yeah. Vortex is our plan for coin join, and you can coin join, into Taproot, but you can also coin join into a Lightning channel.
Yep.
Which is pretty fun. So instead of taking the output of a coin join and then making a channel, your coin join's output is into a Lightning channel, which is
So it's going to make the meme true, right? I mean, in the early days of like Lightning, it's like, why is it called Lightning? It should be called Darkening.
I've heard that one.
It's it's supposed to make transactions dark, not light. So anyways, so guys, any other things that I may have missed that we should mention this week?
Nope. Looks good.
Awesome. Oh, guys, anyone listening that's interested in Nostr conferences, go look up the Nostrica 2023. So we're looking at Tokyo maybe in November. Do go answer some of the surveys because it does help us figure out how many people are going to go and where to do it. It's going to be pretty cool. So yeah, guys, I think that's it. We managed to cover quite a lot of ground in just shy of 2 hours. And you want to bet something crazy and huge is going to drop just after we stop recording?
I enjoyed this because I've been pretty heads down building stuff, and then also like learning about AI right now. Like you were talking about the kind of the explosion of cryptography stuff that is happening right now in Bitcoin, which is great and probably more important. But like I've never seen any industry move as fast as this AI thing right now. It's pretty inspiring.
I think it's because like there's still a lot of low hanging fruit on this sort of AI models that people are playing with. I think things are going to get very interesting once you start having a little bit more serious, like open source AI stuff.
Non-custodial AI.
Less custodial AI.
Non-custodial AI.
Non-custodial AI.
We want to, we were thinking of using it for Mutiny for like a potentially like a support channel, like get our own AI trained on like Nakamoto Institute and like the Bitcoin glossaries and a bunch of resources to have sort of some educational resource. I think that'd be fun. But I think it's almost frustrating, but it's kind of cool. It's like there aren't really a ton of overlaps with AI and Bitcoin. So I just get to like ask the AI how to code things all day.
I mean, it'd be cool. I know, and I love how everything is like completely like bullshit, like garbage, right? Like, I'm very curious. Like, once you can actually, because right now everybody's just leveraging models that somebody else smarter wrote, but like, once you have like some serious people trying to create models on like, say, how to route better, right? Like payments, like that could get very interesting. But again, like so far, it seems like we still have a lot more math that can do the job better until we get into sub-sentient being that makes bad jokes.
Dude, so I'm keeping an overview of Bitcoin research, academic papers as they are being released, because we go over them in our BitDevs. And I'll shit you not, 80%, 90% of papers you'll find, especially those that have something with Bitcoin and AI, is literally just price prediction. So,
I mean, listen, there's a lot of money in that, right? If somebody, because way back in the day, with like a very like a very stupid algo was, if I remember right, was sell on Friday, rebuy on Sunday, or the opposite, and you make 5% a week. This was the Gox trading strategy, right? Like, so like, you could totally find an AI that still can like beat the current sort of markets because it's still stupid.
So that's the one thing, price prediction. And the second most thing that you'll find with Bitcoin and AI is chain analysis. So
of course,
there you have it.
Yep.
People working in chain analysis, look at yourself in the mirror, tell yourself to go fuck yourself. It's a horrible thing you're doing to the world, because the argument that somebody else is going to do it doesn't cut it, okay? Because most of the bad guys don't have imagination. So they need your imagination for them to be able to do this stuff right. So stop working for them. Go do something else more constructive with your life. You're making the world a worse place for your children.
Word.
Sorry. That ended a little dark there, but yes, go fuck yourselves.
It does feel like there's an opportunity here right now, because I was listening to the All In podcast, and they just kind of did like a victory lap for like the end of privacy on Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin has just been this one big honeypot that told people that they could have privacy, and Chainalysis has proven that there's no privacy on a long enough timeline. And so it's another little gauntlet for us.
Yeah, I mean,
is that true?
It's all dumb, right? Like, no, it's not, absolutely not true, right? I mean, just think about all the open dimes that got moved on by like, 5-10 people and have like zero chain footprint. Now, just imagine like, back in the day, everybody trading paper wallets, right? So like, the problem is the premise is that the root of their trees on how they're like de-anonymizing people is very flawed.
I think the reason why something like Chainalysis exists or is so popular is compliance. It's the world of compliance that we've created. So there are tons of companies out there who don't give a fuck about cypherpunk ideals. They just want to have the stamp on them, which says, we use Chainalysis. We don't even care if it works or not, but we did our best and that's it.
Yeah, but chain analysis goes and lobbies government so that if government and forces companies to use chain analysis, right? It's a circle of assholes. These people are awful. Again, look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself to go fuck yourself. You're a horrible person if you work in chain analysis. Like horrible, horrible human being. And you're going to lose. Anyways.
Go work on price prediction.
I like the meme. It's like they want to know how you spend $600, but they can't like audit a $2 trillion spending bill.
That's right. All right. So guys, any other topics, anything we've missed? Okay. So I think that's it. Any final thoughts, Calle?
No, man. Just if you're listening and you're a developer and you didn't get your hands dirty in the Bitcoin space already, just do it. Just look at one of these projects, start contributing. It's very easy. Start with easy stuff, start with boring stuff, and it will get wild pretty soon. So please join us.
Any final thoughts?
I love no, I just want to echo Calle. Oh, come to Bitcoin plus. I think that'll be a good place to get started as a developer. But yeah, like I definitely thought early on in Bitcoin that I needed to like memorize mastering Bitcoin and become like a core dev before I could contribute to Bitcoin. But like, there's a lot of people who just need like help centering a div on the website.
Honestly, the best way to start in Bitcoin is by not being part of core, not participating in the mailing list, and just go build a product or a service that leverages Bitcoin. It's a lot more sane.
Yeah.
And profitable.
But yeah, come to Bitcoin Plus.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming. Thanks, Paul, for your first appearance. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for listening. For more resources, check the show notes. We put a lot of effort into them. And remember, we don't have a crystal ball, so let us know about your project. Visit bitcoin.review to find out how to get in touch.